If you intend on making bath and body products or essential oil blends to sell to the marketplace, then you're going to want to know all of the costs involved in making your product. In this video, we're going to talk about that and how to calculate what your retail price should be, what the markup and your profit's going to be, so we know all of the cost that is involved in making your product. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look now. We want to look at the cost of producing the product. Okay, so you're going to need to figure in the cost of your materials, the bottles, the labels, the essential oils, just about everything that you can think of, even your own time and research. Maybe some books that you've picked up at the bookstore or on Amazon. You're going to want to look at the rent, the utilities, just about everything that you can think of, even your own insurance. And we're going to work this into the cost because we need to spread that out over the product that you're going to be offering. So let's look at this formula that I've come up with. Step 1. Okay, so first thing we want to do is list out the ingredients that you're going to need to make your blend. Okay, so we've gathered all our receipts together. We're looking at the supplies that we've purchased for this blend, and we're going to write down the cost for each ingredient, each essential oil, carrier oil, bottle, and so on. Okay, so let's just go ahead and look at our list here and some of the things that I've actually purchased to create my essential oil blend. Step 2. Next, you're going to need to determine the cost of each item per drop. Okay, so I find that's about the easiest way, unless you're going to be really making a bulk amount of product. If you're going to go scale this, you're going to use actually weights and scales to do your measurement by. But if you're only just doing a small quantity, let's just start with the blend just to make this simple. And you're going to need to do this for every essential oil and carrier oil. So what I've done is determined the number of drops per bottle, whether it be a 5 ml, which would have been 100 drops, and I'm basically averaging this, or approximation of it. Or if you have a 15 ml, then it's going to be 300 drops per bottle. Okay, so we're going to actually be dividing that number into the cost of the blend, and we will be able to determine the drop cost. Okay, so just as an example, I have purchased my fractionated coconut oil from New Directions Aromatics. Okay, so let's look at this. Now the cost for a gallon was $75.81, and then the shipping was $44.19. Now, what I need to do here is figure in the costs per ounce because of this being such a large quantity. I'm going to break it down later, but for now, I just want to go ahead and use my spreadsheet program and write out what the price per gallon for the coconut oil was, and also figure in the shipping, unless you get free shipping. And so breaking this down, I know that there's 128 ounces in a gallon. So in order to determine the price for 1 ounce of the coconut oil, I need to divide the price, the total price of the cost and the shipping together, add those up and divide it by 128. Now this is going to tell me what the cost per ounce is. And if I need to go into a smaller amount, I can do that. So now we want to do this for each essential oil that's in your blend. If you're blending by drops, again, I really want to just remind you that we're going to just break it down by the cost per drop. And if you use scales, then you're going to do it by weight. Okay, so in order to know the exact cost price, we're going to determine the price per drop for each essential oil. Okay, so for my example, I was making an immune blend that we call Flu Buster, or you could, here I was thinking Immune Boost might be a better term, since flu buster is probably not good for FDA purposes. So in my example, I have the immune boost all broken down here by the drop. Now I'm going to be making this blend in a 2 ounce, or actually a 1 ounce bottle, and I'm going to do a 2% dilution on this. So this is going to be something in a fractionated coconut oil blend. I'm going to be showing you here, this is my blend, which I have lemon, eucalyptus, rosemary, cinnamon bark, clove bud, and fractionated coconut oil. So the breakdown here is I'm going to be using 4 to 6 drops. Now the reason I put that range there was because I was looking at this earlier and I realized that based on the number of drops I had originally set, which was 4 drops of lemon, that it was actually going to be less than a 2%. And I thought that I would want to make it just a little bit more and bring it up to a 2% blend. And I'll show you that later, how I came up with that. Originally it was 4 drops and I decided to go ahead and bump it up to 6 drops. Now the eucalyptus is going to be Eucalyptus globius. I'm going to use a 1 to 2 drops. Rosemary, I've got 3 drops. Cinnamon bark, I have 2 to 4 drops. Clove bud, I have 2 to 3 drops. And then the fractionated coconut oil is just going to fill up the rest of the space. And I'm going to just go ahead and approximate that it's going to be about 582 drops to 588 drops. Okay, so there I have already determined this is my formula. This is how much I need of each oil and carrier. Now, if you just go down a little further here, you'll see I have it broken down by the cost now. So now we need to write down what the fractionated coconut oil cost. It was $75.81 with the $44.19 shipping, and that brought it to an even $120. Now to break that down further, I have the number of units, if I go by an ounce, is going to give me $1.06 for each ounce. Okay, does everybody understand that? So we're adding the cost with the shipping, then we're showing the total here in this other column, the total cost, then we're breaking it down by the unit and giving us the total breakdown of the unit cost divided by the number of units. Okay, so it's going to be $1.06 per ounce. And now if I want to even break that down even further, I can do a half ounce, and then I would have it even smaller amount at 53 cents. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. So my lemon, by the way, I'm getting all these prices from New Directions Aromatics website. They sell in bulk, so you can buy a very, very small amount or you can buy a huge amount. I try to buy the largest amount I can, but in this case, I decided to just go with the smallest quantity just so that it would be more maybe relatable to you guys who might not want to buy that much and you just want to get a small amount to get started. So looking at the lemon, I purchased it at $3. I'm figuring on $6.95 for the shipping, and then I carry that over. It's $9.95 for the product. Now, if I break that down to 300 drops, because I'm getting a 15 mil, it's costing me 3 cents per drop, which isn't bad. I go ahead and do this all the way across for eucalyptus. Here I see that, again, this is a very good price at $3.54 for a 15 mil. I added the shipping in, brought it over to $10.49, 300 drops. It comes to about 3 cents per drop. Now, again, I carried it over a little bit to 0.34 so that, you know, when you start multiplying the drops, you're able to bring that price up a little bit because you want to keep it as accurate as possible. I did the same for rosemary. You can see I did the same thing here. The cinnamon, a little more expensive, but again, it's a good product. Clove bud I added in. I also wanted to figure in the amber glass bottle. Now, I used to use plastic, but I realized even though it was a PET, and it was perfectly fine to use because of the dilution being so much that it was safe to have it in that type of a a bottle. I decided to go with the glass. A lot of people would prefer that, just because it is, no risk involved, and they just like the weight of it and feels good in their hand. So I went ahead and added in the amber glass bottle, which I'm getting a whole set of those. I think I went on Amazon for these. That was $9.99. Now again, I used to buy in bulk, and I was getting just a whole big pallet of these things, quite a few bottles at one time. And you could do that and be able to really bring your costs down. But I thought, just because this is a small amount, I'm just going to go ahead and go with this price that I got on Amazon. It's free shipping because I have Prime, and I have 12 in the little package here. So that brings it to 83.25 cents. So 83 cents a bottle, that's not bad. Then I'm adding in my Avery label. Now what I'm doing is purchasing one of those packs that you can get like 750 labels with it. These are just your plain labels. Now I do like to get my labels from onlinelabels.com because they have waterproof labels, so that you don't have to worry about the ink running off if the bottle gets wet, or if some oil drips on the cover of the label and then you lose the whole thing. So that can that could really be a mess. So I went ahead and just figured in the cost at this point, just on the Avery label, $9.24 on Amazon, and the shipping was again going to be free. So I was going to break this down. I'm paying just a penny per label. That's practically nothing. I do want to upgrade my labels, so I just figured for the sake of this example, I was just going to show you this, but I really do want to upscale my labels and try to get something nicer done. Maybe even go on Etsy and order some labels from some of the people there who can make something more personalized and something much more professional looking than a mailing label. But just for the sake of argument, if you're just getting started, you don't want to put a lot of money out yet, I would suggest using the Avery mailing label size. It fits perfectly on a 15 mil if you just use it this direction, just horizontally, just wrap it around. It fits perfectly. It also fits on a 5 mil. And so we did this when we were first getting started. It was an easy way to change labels when you needed to do something different. And if you're carrying a lot of essential oils and you want to start your own label, of course, when you've got so many products, you're going to need to have a lot of labels, and that can get very expensive if you're printing those. So to have a nice, easy to do it yourself label, you can do that. So this is the chart that you're going to be using to fill in the product name, the essential oil, the carrier oil, the bottles, the labels, and so on, all the details with your shipping and fees. Okay. So those are the items that I had on mine. That was a very simple blend. I didn't have a lot of things to worry about. Now in this next chart that I want to show you, you're going to record all of the product ingredients to determine what it will cost to produce one product. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm listing each piece needed for the product. Then I'm listing here the item cost for that product. Then I'm moving over to the column of the quantity of this product. How much are you going to be using? And then multiply that to give you that column line. Okay, so we have here our fractionated oil. We have the cost of that. I'm going to go ahead and just figure in 600 drops per ounce. And then so on, and add in your essential oils here. Now, as you can see with lemon, remember we were going to use 4 drops of the lemon. So that's 3 cents per drop. So I'm going to have 12 cents in lemon used in this blend. We're going to add in our eucalyptus. Again, carry it over. We only have 1 drop. The rosemary, I'm going to be figuring at 9 cents a drop. We're using 3 drops. So that's 27 cents. And so on. And so you can see here we have cinnamon, clove, and we figured in the bottle and the label. Now I totaled all these up and I came to $2.56 for the total cost of my blend. Now that's just in ingredients only, okay? I didn't figure anything else into this, but I do need to go back and work in what the cost of the insurance is, what the cost of maybe the utilities and so on, okay, whatever there is involved in this product. Okay, step 3, now we need to work in the cost for your labor. Sometimes forget this part. I don't know, we don't ever think about what it costs to make this product. But if you're ever going to become a big company and want to scale, of course you're going to need to know, what does it cost to make this product? So I'm figuring in labor wage at $50 an hour. Okay, I know that's high. I could probably go to $12 an hour or $15 an hour, whatever the going rate is for labor. But I figured that it was going to be about 10 minutes per bottle. Now, again, if you're scaling, this is going to be quite different, because if you're making 24 bottles at one time, then you're going to see that the cost is really going to drop, because you're going to be able to scale this. Now, at this price, at $50 per hour at my rate, for 10 minutes is $8.33. Now, I want to put that into the cost of this product, because I think this is important. We always forget this. And this is something that you want to make sure that you're getting paid for your time. Okay, now, I mean, you could figure in a flat rate for your product. You could say, okay, I'm just going to tag on another $2 or $3 per bottle, or maybe $10 per bottle, whatever you want to just add into that, so that now we know what the final cost of this item is. And we want to know now, what can we get for it? What can we mark it up to that the product can be sold for? So I want to try different percentages now, and determining how we can figure in what our profit is going to be based on different prices and discounts. Okay, first chart that you're looking at, that's the cost for this product. Okay, now we want to go down to our next chart here, and we're going to look at the markup of the product. And here we're going to be entering in this cost, and we're going to multiply it out maybe by 2 to start. And we're going to put the result in that first column as retail price. And then we're going to continue to fill this in, and we'll be able to work out the percentages, because what we're going to be doing is subtracting the cost from the retail, and this is going to be how we're going to multiply to determine what that percentage markup is. Okay, so let's just look at this first. So this markup of price is the cost of the product plus the labor, and then we multiply it by 2, and we have $21.78. Now that would be the price of this product. If we look at what's the profit here, we're going to make $10.89, and this gives us a 50% percentage, if you want to look at it that way, as a percentage of markup in the retail. Now, okay, back to this. Now we look at the markup for 3 times markup. If we marked it up 3 times, we would be retailing it for $32.67. So that right there is right in that range. We would have a $21.78 profit. That's not bad. And it would be a 66.66% markup. That's a really good range right there. Now, if we go up higher to 4 times markup, now we're at 43.56, getting very high. I don't know if the market would support that. That's where I need to do my research. I need to go back online and see if people would be willing to pay that much for a 1-ounce blend of this type. Now that gives us $32.67 profit with a 75% markup, and that's quite a bit. Now that's good in the sense that if I wanted to wholesale it to some other suppliers or people who have outlets and storefronts, maybe, say, hey, can you carry my product for me? I have more room for that. I can actually make a little money, and they have that ability to make a little money on this. So just want to think about that. There's so many places here I could maybe lessen the labor part of it. I could probably lower that a little bit. I probably could adjust that a bit, maybe even adjust the bottles. I could probably bring the price down in that, because I could buy on a larger scale and maybe get the price lower. So that's one of those things that we need to look at. I know my head starts to spin when I look at columns and numbers. My mind just goes on. I tell you what, if this is a struggle for you, well, you know what? I bet you there's another way. What?
Why not try Blend Precisely?
Here we go. And okay, so you start out with a blank slate. There's nothing right now. The thing you have available is over 600 pre-populated products, over 65 pages, which is essential oils. You have carrier oils, you have herbs, you have everything you pretty much need to create your first test blend. So they're available here under formulation. So basically how we created this is you start out with your formulation of your product, then you add the packaging, and then you add your product costs, meaning your hourly rate, how high of a markup you want it to have, do you have sales tax, do you have shipping costs, and then you can go on with the remaining part. But we all start out with creating the formulation first. So if I just pull a recipe, let me just pull up one formulation so you can just see how it would look like once it's filled out, and then we can also create one. So on this formulation part here, you added all of your ingredients: lavender, Roman chamomile, sweet orange, Himalayan salt, and almond oil. And then you add your the drops, or you can have also any other unit here which is available. Some people use grams. More and more people are shifting towards weighing their formulations. So you will have also grams available. And then the pricing will show up immediately. Now, the products we have here in Blend Precisely are retail prices. So when you purchase them, in the beginning, we often purchase for retail prices, and they are also mostly organic. So you can add your own raw ingredients actually by uploading them here. Add your own raw ingredients. And I would suggest that because you do want to have your own prices in there and work with your own prices. When I mentioned before that these little icons are coming up where we have to pay attention to the blend or to the oil we're about to use. So if you go over here, or the peppermint, and then you do see, okay, this is a 5.4% topical max, you can make sure that you just have that in your blend and not more. So this peppermint here would say you're more than safe to use it. Or you go down the list, for children or pets or something else, it's all coming up here on the right-hand side. So if you use, of course, lemon and peppermint and all of this, the safety information might go down and is a longer list. If you use just peppermint, as in this case, you can just make sure based on what you entered that you're in the safe zone already. And
thank you so much for your time and for sharing Blend Precisely with us, because this is something I'm excited to share with my community.
Hey, where'd she go?